Good morning, everybody. Hey, it's time for In with Flynn again. We're so happy about that. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning.
I hear you have some interesting news to share with the audience.
Yeah, there was an announcement in the Vista this morning that came out just this morning that I'm running for re-election for mayor for
Excellent.
City of Bella Vista. So,
Good job.
Yeah, I'm just finishing my first 4-year term, and we've been really happy the way things have gone. The election, of course, is November 3rd. There's no primary in our city elections. So the election's November 3rd, and been just really, I had a lot of people ask me about it, wanting to know, a lot of people kind of urging me to do it. So I thought it was best. I thought it was best for myself and best for the city.
Yes, I mean, because you're just getting started. You need to finish some things you started.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So.
I also understand that you had I don't know whether it's an annual trip or what it is, but you attended the Municipal League recently?
It's really twice a year. It's called the Arkansas Municipal League, so most insiders call it the AML. And what it is it's meetings down in Little Rock, and people come from all over the state, mainly city council and mayors, but other people sometimes that work for cities are there. For example, we had a couple of folks from our IT department, our computer department, that were down there. And it's not required, but it's twice a year. And actually, I'm the only person that has from Bella Vista who's never missed a meeting.
Oh.
I was on city council 8 years and went to all 16 meetings and have gone to every meeting since I've been mayor. So it's kind of a combination of it's a chance to interface with other mayors and other leaders. Particularly, we see the ones from Northwest Arkansas quite a bit down there, and you get to know them pretty well. And it's also kind of like a seminar. They have classes on different subject matters and whatnot. It always goes from Wednesday to Friday, so it's 3 days, and it's very worthwhile. One thing they've done really well is they've gotten more and more vendors there that have booths. You know, different people that do things that are for cities. Mm-hmm. And like there'll be people there with computer things and financial type people. And some of the people, since it's the capital, there'll be people from the various state agencies there. So it's really a good way to catch up and learn new things and interface with other people.
How does that relate to the legislature? I mean, how does the Municipal League and the...
Well, yeah, that's a good question. The Municipal League is totally for the cities, mm-hmm. so for the mayors and city council, but sometimes some of the legislators will come down. In fact, we had a session where they had the state and or the local government subcommittee legislature, which is counting the House and Senate, it's about 40 people, mm-hmm. and most of them came down. And then we, those meetings were specifically about things of interest. That's one way the Municipal League really helps is they communicate with the legislators because they're down there in Little Rock also.
Yep. And
they keep us up to date with what's being proposed because they have quite a few proposals that affect cities. And they focus on those kind of things.
So you don't like surprises. You kind of like to know ahead of time.
Sometimes there are things that help us, and sometimes there are things we don't like so much. You know, it's a mixed bag, but it's really helpful to be informed and understand what the issues are.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, we had an interesting work session last night. You did with the City Council, getting ready for the big day next week.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
what's happening? What's going on there, John? I mean, Mr. Mayor. Sorry.
Well, before we get into that, I wanted to mention a couple things.
Okay.
One was about our bond. You know, our
yes.
bond extension passed
yes.
in November, and now we're in the process of getting it ready. There's going to be a council meeting February 3 to approve the final version of the bond, and then it'll close on March 17, meaning that's actually when the city will get the money. So that's interesting. We won't know till later what the interest rate is, but our financial people were estimating it'd be about 3.7%. When we were first planning to do this bond, it was 4.8%.
Ooh.
And I thought, man, that's high. And I was pretty confident interest rates were going to come down because of the things that were happening nationally with the Federal Reserve and that kind of thing. So they have, fortunately for us. So I'm pretty pleased with that. The other thing that happened is before you do the bond, you get a rating from Standard & Poor's. And in 2020, our first bond, we got a rating of AA minus, which we were pleased with. We thought that was good. But then last year, they improved that rating to AA. So now that this is a new bond, each transaction gives its own rating. So our financial experts thought, well, you may get AA minus, and on the other hand, we thought we might get AA. So we got the good news on Thursday that we got AA again, and that really made me happy because it reflects. First of all, you get a little better interest rate.
Yep.
It would be about 1/10 or 0.2% lower because of that. But it also kind of reflects on your general credit and people, how the experts, outside experts, view your financial situation.
Okay.
So it made me feel really good.
Absolutely. And you said, did I hear you say, if I'm saying this wrong, just tell me no.
Yeah.
But I think I heard you say last night that we may not be having as much money in the bond that we thought.
Yeah, when we went to the bond for the election, the financial people want you to be conservative and tell the people who are voting as big a number as possible.
Right.
So to be safe. So we said when you added up everything we had in there, it was 34.95 million. And I was pretty confident it would be less than that. And what I mentioned last night is every single thing that was before council, there's 4 or 5 things from the street department, and there's 1 piece of equipment from the fire. And they were all a lesser price than what we have put in the bond.
Okay.
So what it amounts to is we'll end up borrowing less money, which of course means you have less payments and less to pay back.
That's right.
The other thing I wanted to mention real quick before we get into council was we got our financials through November 30, so it's almost a year in. We just have 1 more month. And our revenues were 1.9 million over the budget, and our expenses were 1.1 million less than the budget. So we're running 3%, $3 million better than our budget. So that's very encouraging for us. And one of the big factors was our city tax receipts.
Okay.
We're up 12% over the prior year. And that's partially from some of the restaurants, and I think it's partially because of the construction. The home construction activity has been so brisk. So we feel really good about our financial situation between the credit rating and the way our budget's been going. One of the things that's happened the last year or two, I don't know if you know, I know you go to council meetings a lot. It's a little bit of a subtle thing. But the different department managers are very reluctant to change the budget in mid-year. You know, you can have the budget amended if you have an extra expenditure you need. And they're doing that much less than they used to. So that's probably a good thing. It means everybody's trying hard to tighten their belts. You know, sometimes something comes up that you just didn't know about before the year, and you just have to do it.
That's right.
But an example of that is that road over on Oldham Road, you know, where we realized the road was failing. We had to do a repair on that.
Sure.
So anyway, so that's...
So we're in good financial health.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, excellent.
And, you know, getting into what council is doing, you know, one thing they do this week is choose the mayor pro tem, and that person runs the meeting in case the mayor is ever missing. So last year we had, each month you have a work session and you have a regular meeting, so it's 24 meetings. Then we had a few emergency meetings, but I never actually missed a meeting. So the mayor pro tem didn't have to do anything.
Didn't have a chance, yeah.
But you do pick one every January.
Every year.
Just
every
in
year.
case. That
Okay.
way you're ready.
Well,
yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, what else? What do we got going here?
So
Salt and sand.
yeah, every year we have a resolution where the street department is able to purchase salt and sand, but without having competitive bidding, because it's kind of a thing you have to do kind of quickly, depending on the weather and things like that. Now, we do have some storage things you may have noticed. There's one at the street department. There's one over on the east side on Trafalgar. And they also have a little bit they store over at the old fire station on Glasgow.
The little bitty fire station.
We kept that fire station for the street department to use when we built the new one. So, so they're able to purchase salt and sand just on the best price they can get. So far this winter, it's been good, as
well,
you know.
But look at the weather that's expected in the next few days.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, it looks like you might get a workout here.
Yeah.
So. You know how it's crazy how the weather is around here. You just never know. And one thing I've always noticed is how winter sometimes can be a little late. You know, you can be going along and saying, "Oh, this isn't so bad," and then February you can get some really cold, snowy weather.
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then we had just a bunch of things. You know, it's funny. In December we had the longest city council agenda I've ever seen. In December, that's usually a quiet month, and then in January we had a really a lot of things on there. So,
on the work session?
Yeah.
Yes.
One of them was one of the council members thought it'd be a good idea if this A&P Commission minutes were on their website, and they're willing to do that, but they looks like their council's preparing to make a rule where they have to do that. They're willing to do it anyway, so well,
let's let the new people that may not know what A&P means. What is that?
Yeah, it actually in Bella Vista, it's Advertising and Promotion Commission, and it's kind of a creature of state law in Arkansas.
Okay.
Where they try to encourage tourism and business development, and they have a 1-cent tax on restaurants and 2 cents on lodging.
Okay.
So that's where their money comes from. Then they use it to encourage development, and I think they've actually done a lot. And it's, you know, it had a lot to do with emphasizing the trails and getting folks from out of town to come in and that kind of thing. They do a lot of advertising. In their case, they do a lot of advertising online in particular.
So it's not part of the city. Explain the relationship.
Yeah, it's kind of an odd relationship. It's separate from the city, and we actually don't govern them. We don't tell them what to do in particular. But they have 4 members who are from the restaurant and lodging industry, and then they have one that's at large, and this is all by state statute. And then there's 2 people from the city. So we have 1 councilman and myself right now.
Okay.
That is on it. So they purposely have a mix on the board that way.
Sure.
You know, but the city is a minority on the board, and that's purposeful.
Okay.
So anyway, they just thought from the point of view of transparency, it'd be nice if citizens could see what's on there. And, you know, their meetings are open to the public, but people don't normally come.
Where do they meet? I believe it's at the POA board meeting, the boardroom.
Yeah.
And when? Every 2 months?
Yeah, it's usually every 2 months. Okay. And they also have, you can attend remotely online also. Okay, well, every once in a while someone does, but generally speaking not. So, but technically you could. But having the minutes on the website, you know, it's not a bad idea. It's on the A&P website, and it's called Discover Bella Vista.
Exactly.
Most cities give it a name. In Bentonville, it's called Visit Bentonville. You know, you can make up your own name for it, so to speak.
I like Discover better than Visit.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. Hey, let's take a quick break, because we've got a lot of things here to talk about still, but we needed to go over some important new things that we hadn't thought about, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
We'll be right back. Okay, here we are. We're back. And so let's talk about all those. I liked what you said earlier, that a lot of things you're about to talk about are actually just part of the bond. It's not like money you take out of your coffers.
Yeah, the street department really was ready to go with the new bond, and they have they're getting a new Caterpillar motor grader, which is $277,000, and a Caterpillar paving and compaction roller, $164,000, and a wheeled excavator, $217,000. All those things are under the bond, and I thought our street department head, Karen Hunt, was really on the ball. What she did is she ran out and got 25 prices in December, and then brought it to the council in January.
Yeah.
But it won't be delivered, and we won't pay for it until we have the bond money in March.
Sure.
So planning ahead.
Yeah.
But it's funny how many of these people, it's just like automobiles, it's a new year, and they think, oh, that's an excuse to raise prices, right? So she was hustling around to get last year's price, which was good.
Yes.
And then she also had something outside the bond. She was getting a new John Deere tractor, and they use that for the mowing. She was explaining at the meeting how they like to have two people mowing kind of together in case somebody would have an accident or something. The other person would be able to report it in. Some of those, people like the mowing right off the road, but some of those areas are a little daunting.
Oh, they
There'll
are.
be a swale there,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's a little steep, so
Yeah.
it's a little bit of a challenge to mow. And then it gets wet, of course, in the spring. It's kind of a double whammy. It gets wet, and then it's raining so much in the spring, so it makes a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we had things with the street, and then the fire department got going a little bit too. They had, this is an example of the good pricing. They have an ambulance remount
Yes.
instead of getting a new ambulance. And they estimated that at $300,000 in the bond that we put in the bond, and it was $251,000.
Good.
So that was a good price.
Good.
But now they're going to do a second one next year. I think that's why they do them one at a time, because they can't afford to have too many ambulances out of service at once, right? They've got 6, and that's to cover the 4 fire stations. And sometimes they keep an extra one over at the fire training tower. But it's surprising how many people need ambulances at the same time. Sometimes all 4 or 5 of them will be out at once.
Wow.
Yeah. And you know what's and this makes so much sense to me, what's a common time is very first thing in the morning.
Really?
And I could see that. You're kind of sick all night, and you don't realize how bad it is. And about 7 a.m., you go, uh-oh, this is really bad, and call the ambulance.
Yes,
So,
yes.
Yeah. So, but the fire chief does a great job. He keeps track of all this stuff and tries to figure out, the best way to prepare ourselves for whatever happens. So.
Yep, that's good stuff.
Yeah. And then they had 2 or 3 pickup trucks the fire department was getting. There was a little discussion about those, like everybody else, vehicles are getting more expensive. These trucks, and plus they have special outfitting for the fire trucks. It's not quite as extensive as the police, but there's some special outfitting for the fire trucks. So they're up around $55,000 each. But one thing the fire chief does that I like is he gets these pickup trucks and keeps them a long time. I mean, the ones we're trading in are like from 2010. So
Wow.
even though they're pretty pricey, he runs them for 10 or 15 years and really kind of runs them into the ground almost.
It's kind of like the street department. That one vehicle that they're still keeping is from
it's
2001.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was
Anyway.
surprising. Yeah. And then I think the street department, some of the things they're getting, they'll be able to respond a little more quickly because they're keeping the old one. And,
Yeah.
have a
Sorry, I
little bit of
backtracked on you
That's
there.
okay. Let's see what else.